The year is 8050. A brand new lighthouse. The Standard Rock Lighthouse is being built on a treacherous reef in the middle of Lake Superior. This isn't just any construction project. It's a battle against nature itself. The location is so remote, so dangerous. It's nicknamed the loneliest place in North America. For the crew of men building it, this was their isolated world, surrounded by miles of icy, unforgiving water. Their only link to civilization was a supply ship that visited periodically. But as winter approached, the lake began to freeze, and the visits became less frequent until they stopped altogether. The men were on their own, racing against time to finish the lighthouse. Before the full fury of a Great Lakes winter descended upon them, they had a temporary structure, a wooden crib filled with stone that served as their bait. It was all that stood between them and the crushing power of the lake. One bitter, cold night, a storm of unimaginable ferocity rolled in. Winds howled like demons, and waves, 30 feet high, crashed against their fragile shelter. The men huddled together, listening to the groaning and straining of the wooden beams. They were terrified, but they were also builders. They had faith in their work. But Lake Superior is a force that demands respect. Suddenly, over the roar of the storm, they heard it. A deafening crack. It was a sound no one wanted to hear. The sound of their world breaking apart. It echoed for a second, a sharp, terrible report that cut through the gale. And then an even more terrifying sound full of silence. The constant groaning of the structure, the vibration under their feet. It all just stopped. The silence was heavy, absolute, and filled with dread. What had happened? Had a key support beam snapped? Was the entire structure about to collapse into the freezing abyss? In that moment of pure, heart-stopping silence, the men didn't know if they had seconds or minutes to live. They were trapped dozens of miles from shore in the middle of a monster storm, on a structure that had just screamed its death cry. They could only wait, their ears straining, listening for the next sound, knowing it could be the final plunge into the icy depths. The silence felt longer than an eternity. It was the sound of abandoned doom. What happened next is a testament to human endurance and sheer luck. The initial crack was a major structural failure, but miraculously the broken pieces wedged against each other, creating a temporary, precarious hold. The structure was critically damaged, but it hadn't completely given way. The men spent the rest of that night, and many nights after, in a state of constant fear, reinforcing what they could, praying the lake wouldn't finish the job. They were stranded there for the entire winter, living on a ticking time bomb. When the ice finally broke in the spring and a rescue ship arrived, the rescuers were stunned. The temporary structure was a wreck, twisted and shattered. It was a miracle anyone had survived. The story of that night, of that terrible crack, followed by an even more terrible silence, became a legend among lighthouse keepers on the Great Lakes. As a chilling reminder of the power of nature and the thin line between survival and disaster in one of the most isolated places on the continent. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more incredible tales from history. See you next time.